All right, well, I think we'll go ahead and get started because it is 5 past, and I know that there are other sessions at 6:30.
Right.
I don't know if you signed up for another one, but I do want to keep, so I do want to keep us on our schedule.
Okay, sounds good.
So this session tonight is primarily about playlists.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, Erin, so I can pull up my presentation here. Let's see where to go. Okay. All right. So I also teach 6th grade. I'm a 6th grade teacher at Morse Pond, and I'm actually in the same hallway as Mrs. Zano and Mrs. Brennan. We're the other 2 teachers on the other side of the hallway. Mrs. Samansky is my team teacher. So I teach math and science.
Okay.
And I've been at Morse Pond. I think this is my 6th year. And prior to that, I was at North Falmouth School for 17 years.
Nice.
So Morse Pond, I love it. And my kids will still tell you, my own boys will tell you that Morse Pond was the best school in Falmouth. So it's a great place for kids to be a kid. So we're going to talk a little bit about what playlists are. I'm going to show you some examples of playlists. We're going to talk a little bit about best uses of playlists, and then I'll answer any questions that you have.
Okay.
All right. So when things in essence shut down last March, right, and education changed dramatically overnight, there were issues. As flexible as teachers and parents and families were, there was definitely, it brought to light, we needed a better way of streamlining expectations, of giving kids expectations and what needed to be done. And out of that, the district offered to teachers a series of trainings through a company called Modern Teacher. And one of Modern Teacher's kind of missions are to create a way to teach that is seamless between remote and in person. I think their feeling is that aside from a global pandemic, online schooling is something of the future, that this is something that will become more prevalent in the years to come. And playlists were developed to make that a seamless transition. And so for us, whether we are in person, remote, if we get shut down again, the playlist will continue to kind of be our roadmaps. In essence, they're really just a sequence set of activities that students can do independently with a partner or a teacher. And you'll see, I'll kind of show you as we look at the examples of the playlists, kind of how that looks. Generally, the playlists are focused on a specific skill or standard. Again, their uses across the grade levels. That's going to look a little bit differently that they would at the elementary level, our middle school, or again at the high school. And teachers throughout the grade levels, which is the other nice thing, are using playlists. So that for parents who have kids in multiple grade levels, this is a consistent way of communicating what is being done in school. So that being said, I also just want to kind of note that while playlists have been encouraged, they're not mandated, so that if teachers aren't using playlists, that certainly is within their prerogative to do as well. But I can tell you that knowing, especially knowing with Mrs. Zano, Mrs. Brennan, we're working on all of these things together. So I know that their playlists are going to look very similar to the ones I'm going to share that I'm using and that my partner are using. Pretty much within the playlist, there's an opportunity for learning a new skill. We call it the learn it part of the lesson. There should be an opportunity for practicing of the skill. The practice it section is not graded usually. While we're holding kids accountable for completing the activities, they're not necessarily graded. And then there's an opportunity to show what you know, basically that evidence of learning. And that is typically the part of the day, the week that is graded. That's kind of that, and you're able to do what we do. So right now in 6th grade math, we have an evidence of learning piece almost every day, showing that you understood the day's lesson. Whereas at the high school level, they may teach a series of lessons over the course of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, in an evidence of learning due at the end of the week to show you understood the concept of the week. So we don't feel like our kids are quite there yet, that we're looking for that information along the way of their learning at this level. So as I said, like there is a lot of variety and individuality with these. Playlists can take the form of a list, a slide, they look like a table. There's some varying degrees of independence that can be within a playlist. I think at its purest, the idea is that there are opportunities for students to choose a way to learn it. So whether that is meeting with a teacher or watching a video or reading an article or a chapter in a book, that they get to choose the way that is best for them. Again, at our level, we don't know that they know enough about their own metacognition to be there, to know what is best for them. So we offer them in the Learn It section a wide variety of activities. So there is a teacher section, and we might use a video, and they might read. So we might expose them to all those different learning modalities, but they're not getting to pick and choose which ones they'll do and not do at this point. So let's see. So I think the best thing is to just kind of show you some of the playlists. And I'm going to start with 5th grade. There's a very different, again, the 5th grade teachers are working together. If anything has come out of this new way of teaching, it is the collegiality amongst teachers is at an all-time high. And we always work together. I mean, again, the teachers are fabulous, but for everybody to really be on the same page at the same time is amazing. And we're developing the playlist together, and we're developing the activities and developing the evidence of learnings together, so that regardless of who your teacher is, there's really a shared experience amongst all of the students. So 5th grade ELA, this is Mrs. Marathis. This is her English language arts. And so the 5th grade teachers, both math and ELA, are using more of a slideshow. So for each day in ELA, here is kind of an overview of what they're doing. As you go through the slideshow, there's more information. So for Monday, here is what they'll be doing in class. Here they're focused on what their discussion questions are, their vocabulary. Here's the Zoom link, and I think, nope, this is not a live link. Usually anything in blue would be a live link. So Tuesday would come, and there's the next set of information. And so the kids really know exactly what to expect coming into class that day. It's a beautiful thing. In math, 5th grade math looks very similar. Again, the teachers are trying to keep it consistent for students. We understand that this is not easy. This organization for kids, showing up on time to a Zoom, having what they need, is a little bit beyond their years. And so making this as clear and concise for them as possible has been really important to us. So this, I believe, is this is Mr. O's playlist for this week in 5th grade. And again, you're going to see a lot of similarities to the ELA, 5th grade ELA, day by day, what they're doing. When you get into Monday's slide, I think he does a warm up every day. Like this is their daily review, this daily skills review. Here's his like objective, what it is kids should know and be able to do at the end of class. And his slides, again, each day kind of look like that, consistently with what they're doing, their daily skill review, and their standard. It's 6th grade. So this is one of mine for this week or last week. No, this is a long time ago. So, but again, so we have I do a getting started with the kids. This is their warm up while I'm getting kids online, right? Letting everybody into the Zoom meeting and checking everything. This is what the kids get started on. So here's that learn about it. This is what we're doing together. I hyperlink my slide deck that I teach from so that if you're home and it's hard to see because we use webcams and it's not the best view always, but the kids can always pull up the slide deck and put it on their screen as well and use a split screen mode. The practice it is here. And then the evidence of learning in this case was a Google form. And I always tell them, I try to give my kids as much information as possible, where to find it. The assignment's in Google Classroom, right? Because they'll sit here and go, well, where is it? Well, it's again, it's in Google Classroom. And the other reason for that is we also are always cognizant of families being in situations where there might be illness in the family, right? Kids might be quarantined, family might be sick, the kids might be sick, and they may miss school. And again, the playlist is there. It's kind of like built in, what did I miss while I was out? So there should never be a question about, I didn't know what to do. And not that it, certainly doesn't take the place of the teacher-led instruction, but there's usually enough there that the kids can get a gist of what they missed, and at least have an opportunity to meet with the teacher at some point and go back and find what the activities were that they missed. So what is it they need to make up? I always include in mine a little information for the parents down at the bottom. I had a hard time letting go of my weekly newsletters. And so I liked to be able to just, if parents were looking at the playlists, that they kind of knew where we were, where we were coming from, where we were going. And then I also include for the students some additional practice and resources, so that if there's a particular skill they're struggling with, or they're an early finisher, there's always something more to do. I always tell them there's more math. Math is never over, right? There's always more math to do. And I try to find some little bit more high interest things for them. Some of the more gamey type activities. And they love that. So that's kind of, ELA is very similar. Stephanie's is going to look a lot like mine. Again, at the top, mine had the same thing. It's got, what are the standards or objectives? What is it kids should know and be able to do this week? Stephanie uses a little bit different language, but again, there's that warm up or getting started, the class lesson and assignments, and the independent work is that evidence of learning. So again, the teachers aren't all using the exact same language, but the essence of the playlists are all built in there. Let's see. So from, whoops, what did I do? Nope. From kind of the use of playlists. Well, let me stop there, Erin. Do you have any questions at this point?
Yeah, I'm just wondering how, so maybe you know this. I think I get the sense from my high schoolers' experience that the teachers have not collaborated as much as you describe on building up standardized formats for, and I just wonder if you can comment on what the process was for.
Well, so I think the high school is a little bit of a different beast because they, like in our school, so all of the 6th grade math teachers, we're all teaching the same thing. Whereas at the high school, a lot, so even within the math department, they're all teaching different math courses. Right. So there is going to be a little bit less in terms of the collaboration in that sense. The other thing is that again, the use of playlist, I mean, there were lots of high school teachers in the training for the playlists. I guess I can't say for sure why Again, they were not mandated, they were encouraged and suggested as like best practice.
Okay.
And I just know for a fact, like Morse Pond kind of took it and ran with it. It really made sense for us. Having never been a high school teacher, I don't know. I mean, I personally, I see that it could certainly work, but I don't know why or what their reasoning would be behind that.
Sure,
Does
sure.
that make
Thank
sense?
you. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah, no, it's a
Oh,
really
and you
good
said,
question.
and you said there was training, and I didn't catch the name of the, you said there was a
Company,
consultant
we
or
used a training company called Modern Teacher.
modern teacher. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
And we did, it was a whole, this summer I took the class, it was a 20-hour
Wow.
course. And we practice. These are not easy. The playlists take quite frankly take hours.
Mhm.
Well,
Seems
especially
like they
since
would.
you want to link what you can and make as much electronic as you can. It's not just stand at the photocopier anymore and photocopy a bunch of papers, right? It's how can we make this available and accessible to everyone, whether you're fully remote or in front of us.
Mhm.
So
Thank you.
but as far as using the playlists, like, so how can a student or family best use the playlist? And I've told my kids in my class from day one, playlists really are a roadmap to the day or to the week. I mean, they are your guide. I always start every math class. I have my math warm up. And the first thing it says is review today's playlist. Review the playlist for today, get a sense of what it is we're going to be doing. It also, we talked a little bit about, knowing what you missed and need to do if you're absent. And then the last one is the one I love for families the most, because the question I get from parents often is, how do I know if my kid is doing their work? How do I know if they tell me they've done what they're supposed to? And what I would say is the playlist, that evidence of learning, is going to tell you what you need to do, and then show it to me, right? Can you show me your Google Classroom and show me where this work is? But it really is a nice way to really keep track of what was done, what needed to be done, and have you done it? And again, I think for us at least at sixth grade math, that practice it section is not something we're looking to grade every little part. That's really just that practice, but that evidence of learning, we always kind of refer to as the must do. That's kind of the be all end all kind of thing. So what, do you have any other, I know I already answered a couple of your questions.
No, I think this is really helpful to see the day like this. Yeah.
It is. And I think too, to see that big picture of what it looks like in the week. What I do kind of caution my kiddos about, some of them get a little, what's the word? Not, they get excited, right? And they start to look ahead and they start clicking on things and they want to do things, right? And I always say to them, look, these are plans and they build on each other. So you also want to be careful not to jump ahead and say, well, I'm going to jump on and do this. We've gotten pretty good at scheduling things not to show up now until we're ready for them. But sometimes there's a live link for something and someone will jump ahead and then we end up not doing that because the lesson took a different turn. So while close scrutiny at the first day and more of a bird's eye view of the week without getting caught in the details until that day. But they really are. I do think they can be helpful for kids, especially kids if there are any issues around organization, those executive function skills. It's even just, I've taken some of my playlists and for some of my kids, put little check boxes after them, like giving them their own copy. And so just check it off when you're done. And that has helped. So that's that.
Nice. Well, thank you so much.
Well, I'm glad you came out. Thank you. I was like, at first I was like, oh, I hope somebody's going to come. Like, I didn't know if
never know.
Yeah, if the weather scared people away or whatever. But anyway, so this was a pleasure. I really do thank you for coming. We appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and stop my share. And
Okay.
thank you again for coming.
Sure. Well, thank you. Yeah, and this is a great resource. I'm sure people will
Yeah, I think so.
get a
And if,
chance when
again,
their schedule's allowed to look
if
at it
you have
later.
any questions afterwards, you can reach me at the regular Falmouth address, and it's just
Okay,
K Carson at Falmouth, etc.
that's very kind.
All
Thank
right.
you.
It was nice
Yeah,
meeting you, Erin.
you too.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.